Welcome to today's 2026 Winter Seminar Series event created by the PDMI's new Digital and Data Council, entitled AI Activations Grease the Funnel. We welcome all of you to today's event, PDMI members and non-members alike. If you're not a PDMI member but are attending today, we'd love to have you consider joining the association. There's no better way to support the mission of the PDMI than joining and sharing your voice in the direction of this industry. These people on your screen are proof of that. In the handouts tab of your control panel, you'll find our PDMI membership brochure. I urge you to download it, flip through it, and contact any of our team members should you desire more information. One more housekeeping note, the group will be addressing any questions from the audience at the end of today's session, but you don't have to wait to ask them. Utilize the questions tab on your control panel to type and send your question in. We'll be collecting them and we'll try to get to as many as possible in the final moments of the webinar. So AI was 2025's and is 2026's ultimate buzzword. But what performance marketers by their nature need is real data, not buzz. What's the reality when it comes to effective uses of machine learning solutions for performance marketers? How are agencies and vendors teaming to create solutions using AI technology that are directly impacting the success of client campaigns? Well, Gregory Silvano, CEO of Buyist and chair of the Digital and Data Council, welcomes this group of PDMI member leaders curated by the new council for a conversation that will not only enlighten, but also lead directly into a similar conversation among brand leaders at PDMI East next month in Miami Beach. Welcome, Greg, and our five panelists. They are Lindsey Carnett of Marketing Maven, Brett Charest of Casual Precision, Dan Otto of Intelligent Handshake, Randal Shaheen of BakerHostetler, we hope, fingers crossed. Randy was having a little struggle getting in. We hope he can join us shortly, and Sophia Vick of Kingstar Media. Welcome all. Randy, are you there? He's not there right now. We'll see if we can get him in. Until then, Greg, take it away.
Thank you very much. All right, AI. This is not just another, AI is changing everything, AI hype type webinar. The goal here is to really talk about actionable, real things. How have you used AI? Are your customers using AI? What is it helping your business? Is it helping what you deliver your customers? Is it helping, at the end of the day, the results of these things that we do as performance marketers? So it's, beyond hype. This isn't about an AI bubble, and a lot of this might end up being, we tried this and it didn't work, or there are some limitations that we see out there, and it's our experiences, and I'm going to chime in on a bunch of things too, but it's going to be our experiences and the experiences of our customers. And the goal here is that these are not product pitches. This isn't people coming up and saying we have this AI thing and come use it. It's experiences as the business owners, as the people actually working on these tools. And I think though the right way to start is that, it's been 12 to 18 months since there's been real AI stuff out there. Not just, hey, I've got ChatGPT and I can have it craft up an email, but there's platforms and there's tools out there that affect us as marketers. So my first question to anybody, and again, this isn't round robin, this is just kind of chime in and let's talk. What have you done? Are your clients asking for AI? Are they coming to you and saying, I must have an AI solution, or are you just kind of using it a little bit quietly behind the scenes? What has that kind of been like over the past 12 to 18 months? Anybody?
I can chime in from a Marketing Maven perspective. We are having a lot of clients come and say, hey, Google's not working like it used to. Please help people find us on ChatGPT. And so they are actually getting sent by their SEO companies, because the SEO companies can't do exactly what they've been doing as effectively, because the algorithms have changed tied to the LLMs with the high domain authority type of earned media to be able to drive the AI overview section. So what we do directly impacts that AI overview section and the ChatGPT searches.
So you're saying people come to you with that problem. Is this something that everybody has, but not everybody knows they have this problem? Is this just a
Yeah, I mean, if you start digging into analytics, the crazy thing is in our market research right now for companies, there's a whole nother channel, just the same as you would do a breakdown with social, and here's all your social channels and direct traffic and referral traffic. There's another category now that says ChatGPT, and that category is growing and growing. I would compare it to on a Google Analytics, you used to look at all right, how much traffic is desktop traffic versus mobile traffic versus tablet? And we saw that huge shift with the transfer from desktop to mobile. The same things happening in search with Google to ChatGPT.
So it's funny, I've seen Shopify has an OpenAI relationship where, you know, to drive people directly to a Shopify site, and they released some numbers that were like, you know, it's a 300% improvement, increase over whatever time period it was, but they use percentage, not dollar amounts. And I figure it's just kind of early. It's one of those, 300% is real easy when there was only one, and now there's three, improvement. But I wonder how much of it is, on that side, that enough people are actually doing that. If it's Shopify kind of marketing hype, or if there are big numbers behind it. So let me expand to anybody else. So whether Sophia, Dan, or Brett, clients coming to you, I need AI for what you're doing, or do you find nowadays it's more, just kind of, you might be using it internally for some stuff?
I mean, for us,
let me start by saying I'm not an AI agentic figure here today. I'm a real person. So, but our clients are just looking for a solution. They're not saying they're pushing AI toward us. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's a buzzword they recognize. They don't know how to use it. They're looking for us to do it for them.
Got it. Brett, Sophia, anything to add on that?
Sure. I don't think our clients are specifically coming to us asking us how we're utilizing AI, but we're using it kind of in the background, right? Mostly for like our causal measurement approaches, and really trying to reveal the true kind of mathematical impact of every dollar.
Yep. Is that something that you did internally before, and this is just a way to do it more efficiently?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we've been creating models for a while now, and this just allows us to do it more efficiently. That's it.
Sorry, Sophia, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, all good. I would say the same on our end as well. We're obviously having conversations with clients and vendors about AI. It's on the forefront of every lunch and dinner that we're having with them or meeting, but mostly it's in an internal capacity at this point. And same with, as Brett had said, trying to figure out with our campaigns how to look into optimizations in a faster and more clear way in order to give our media strategists more time to actually execute on optimization. In addition to that, just from a functional standpoint and an admin standpoint, finessing sales presentations, slides, emails, reporting. Our accounting department is utilizing it as well. So it's really across the board that we're trying to make more time efficient.
So you brought up a bunch of different teams there, right? Sales to accounting. Is this a corporate directive, right? Is Ed standing there going, everybody must use AI, or are people deciding to use it in their role, and it's not really corporate, driven?
It's a little bit of both, because Ed is standing there probably saying that. You're not wrong there. But I would say definitely, internally there's a lot of chatter, right? How are you utilizing it? And obviously from above, the question is, how are we moving forward as a company with AI in terms of strategy and implementation in the years to come as it continues to evolve. But definitely the internal is a lot of anecdotal kind of chatter. How did you use that? Hey, if you used it to do X, Y, and Z, efficiently, what works, what doesn't work. So there's a lot of that internal happening right now.
So same question to Brett and Lindsey. Did you put any directive down to your staff saying, hey, listen, this is what we're doing? Or is it just kind of like, hey, if you find something that might make life a little bit easier, consider it?
We've been using AI for the last 10 plus years. With our market research, my top line item is payroll. My second line item is technology. And so we've been using AI tools that are machine learning for market research for all of this time, and they're getting bigger, faster, smarter. But we've actually compared, because I said, oh, what if we could get rid of our second largest line item by using the off-the-shelf type of tools? And it won't pull the same type of data that we need to be able to do our deep dive research. And so I've done deep comparisons through our chief technology officer on what that looks like, just to try and cut costs. But we need the tools that we've been using to go in the depth that we can get to. And so on that piece, the new AI tools are not as big and strong as I would like. But on processes like doing RFPs, for example, we do a lot of RFPs as an agency. And so those types of AI tools for doing that faster are super helpful for us. We also have tools that we use in influencer marketing that are, big, expensive tools. And sometimes we'll do just a cross comparison with AI tools too, just as a double check. So those are ways that we're using it internally, and different people on our team are using it for different concepts. And we recently partnered with a company called Cogsia, just in terms of a strategic partnership, because it allows us to build out different apps for different types of workflows and work streams at Marketing Maven. So that's been really helpful too.
We use it a lot.
Yeah, we use it a lot.
So I'm going to go down the line.
Not for writing, which I'll get into later.
Yeah, okay, all right, deal. So I'm going to go down the line on this one. So in line with what Lindsey just talked about with Marketing Maven, where have you used AI and it worked? And where have you used AI and it didn't work? And actually, I'll volunteer myself on it. So at Buyist, I've put down the word that AI first for almost everything we do. Like we're a technical company, a lot of software, so I mean it kind of fits with the strengths of AI. And places where it works versus it doesn't work. Have any of you played with Claude Code or Claude Cowork? Anybody? Okay. So put Claude Code into perspective. You obviously know AI can write code, right? And ChatGPT was doing it two years ago. Claude Code's a little bit different. And I sat down 3 weeks ago, and decided to play around with it after reading like the 10th article that I finally see, people talking about Claude Code. Everybody in Silicon Valley is talking about Claude Code, and I'm in Boston, so I'm like, fine, I'll try it. I started on Saturday morning. On Monday morning, I canceled our $18,000 a year HubSpot contract. It took less than days to do something that was better than what we had in HubSpot, right? So internally, that's our mentality now, where, Claude Code, obviously it's geekier, it's software, right? It's not, just an office worker whipping up their own application. It takes a little bit more skill than that. But the tools are there, right? So what works, and Cowork is very much the same thing. Claude Code writes code. Claude Cowork automates your browser and things on your computer. It actually can take control. That sounds horrifying, but when you use it a little bit and then push the boundaries, you get to a point where you're like, do everything for me. Like it's unbelievable what it can do. So that's definitely where it works for us, is that kind of stuff. We're with you, Lindsey, on the marketing copy, things like that. We certainly leverage it, but we'll get there. Where it didn't work for us, I'll tell you the problem we've had with AI is that it has changed so dramatically, so quickly, that as a software company, we've been halfway through something when something better comes around, and all of a sudden you got to throw out 3 months of work that you were working on because it actually is outdated. And that's a problem. It's like this constantly moving target. So we've had things where it's, a chat interface that can check your website, and you can ask questions and say, what's the, anything about your data. And by the time we got that all polished and great, it was like, it was antiquated, literally antiquated. So I was like, all right, we gotta change that. So that's kind of been the problem for us internally. It works great for certainly coding type stuff. Not so great for finally getting something out the door that isn't immediately antiquated. So Dan, I'm going to go to you. What is actually working related to AI for you guys or your clients? And what have you tried, if anything, that just kind of fell flat in its face?
Well, most of this AI stuff we do on the front end, and we've used SPSS and SAS. We're still using SPSS. So we're doing the AI on the predictive analytics side. And that has worked well for us. We get great models out of it, and we get great lift from things like revenue per call or revenue per visit, and that's working well. But if we don't pre-process everything, if we don't score the universe ahead of time, we find that AI being used as real-time scoring was giving us too much latency. And so we calculate everything, we store it, and then index it, and we're leveraging cache as best we can here to come back with a score in 0.3 of a second here. There's a lot of AI that goes into creating that score and getting it ready and sending it back out and identifying people. But most of the stuff we do is AI on the front end.
Yep, that makes perfect sense. Sophia, you're up.
Yeah, so for what's worked with us well on the internal side is, we have an internal dashboard that external dashboard that we provide to clients. All of their reporting every week, they get a link. Here's your report. Here's your media optimizations for the week. On the back end, we relied on AI a lot from a design perspective. What kind of charting do we want to use? What's most visually appealing? So instead of getting, 8 people in a room and everybody having an opinion on whether they like a bar, a line, or a pie chart, AI was able to really kind of help us consolidate that time, get proper colors in, and really minimize the amount of opinion that can happen when you're having that type of discussion. So that was a very positive experience for us. And then on the flip side, I'm going to put my media planner hat on. There's always this chatter about how it can do better planning. AI and all these tools can do better planning than a human. And you go in and you say, okay, for $100,000, I want to do this, that, target this person, and that it's the complete opposite of anything that you've ever seen or worked on in the past.
Yeah.
So that's where, and I know we'll probably get into this a lot more, is where that human touch still needs to be involved, right? So that's very much a ways away from being anywhere what we would want to rely AI on at this point.
The line I've used internally at Buyist is that we use AI for its super scalability, not for its super intelligence. It can do a lot of things, faster and quicker than a person, but they're dumb things. We're not asking it to solve, complex problems. And I'm sure there are models that can do it, right? But that's it. All right, so Brett, over to you, sir.
Similar to Sophia, right? AI's been wonderful for us in speed of reporting, making recommendations, simulating futures for our clients. And I know the question earlier was, did we make it a directive? And I think departmentally we did. From a data science and engineering perspective, we made it a directive. From all other facets, we encouraged our employees to play around with it, and we've seen it work well for making me look way smarter than I am when writing an email. We've also seen it produce results from a deck perspective that just don't align with the client's needs.
Yeah. So that actually, so you know what, we're gonna stick with you and go to kind of the next topic here. When we discussed AI as a group before earlier this week, there was one common theme, surprisingly, I didn't expect it. There was one common theme everybody had, which was the concept of a human in the middle, that there needs to still be a human factor in here. And Brett, I think you just kind of touched upon that. So you want to dive a little deeper into that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we have a human in the loop philosophy here. We deliberately. We position the technology as an accelerator for our media experts rather than a replacement for them. We believe that AI provides the mathematical foundation, and that human expertise is required to kind of translate those data-driven insights into our high-performance culture.
Yeah. And I think deliberately is important there. It's not like an afterthought. It's not like, oh, we messed up, so let's get a human in the middle. It's designed. The processes are.
Yeah, I mean, look, AI can tell you that there was incrementality there, but it needs to be a strategist to tell you how to pivot your dollars to take advantage of it.
Yeah, super smart. All right, I'm going back down for you guys. This is how you're laid out on my screen. So now we'll go back to Sophia. I'm going to go back the other way here. Sophia, same question. So you started to go down this path in your earlier answer, and you said we're going to talk about it later. It is later. So for Kingstar, do you actively think a person in the middle on this stuff?
Absolutely. Like week to week, when we're reviewing, client results, from the previous week and need to make optimizations or recommendations on it, when we review, what AI is telling us, like, again, a lot of it is skewed because a lot of what's out there and where it's generating the information on is on, big dollar, big budget campaigns, big brand buys, which is what the assumption is, particularly with linear TV, right? So we need to take that performance and direct approach when looking at it and have that lens when we're looking at those optimizations, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's.
So do you,
yeah.
All right, let's talk about people in general. And this is for Sophia.
Yeah.
Do you have to train employees to not trust what comes out, or so don't get lazy, don't just run this thing and send it off to a client?
We do, yeah. We put a lot of caveat into that, right? Because something as simple sometimes as even taking a screen grab. If you've ever taken a screen grab and put it into AI, it won't read the words properly, right? So whatever that's regurgitating or giving you back is not always accurate, even like with typos, all sorts of stuff from that perspective. So yes, don't take it at face value, dig into the results, make sure that it makes sense, and tweak what you would need to tweak based on your own expertise. And
what do you think would happen if an employee went with an AI suggestion and it tanked a week campaign, a week's worth of, media spend or something like that? Is that a Kingstar error, an employee error, an AI error? Whose problem is that?
Well, I think that's a Kingstar. It's a reflection of the company always, right? And whether or not, but at the end of the day, as humans, we've also made bad optimizations before and bad
right, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So like there's every decision never made. Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't go so well, and you have to take the fall on that. So, I think it is really, looking at it from the lens of it's not perfect. It's there to help you save time. The time that you've saved should be reviewing it and making sure that things are accurate.
That's great. Dan, the question was a human in the middle, man in the middle. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. If it's customer facing, it's got to be checked. I mean, AI will get you 85% of the way there, but the last steps in the process have to be checked by a human. Otherwise, you're going to get in trouble. And the legal profession has seen the worst of this because they have, court documents citing cases that don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. Contempt of court.
No, I mean, we could generate landing pages or scripts in real time, but if we don't see them, we're going to get in trouble.
Agreed. Lindsey, over to you. Same question.
I think just to piggyback off of what Dan said, he said, AI can get you 85% there. I think that the human has to start as the architect of the strategy from the beginning, because if you understand what the business objectives are, then you can reverse engineer into the strategy and really understand what it is that you're looking for. And like I mentioned, we've been doing AI work for more than 10 years with our market research. And so to have MBAs that know how to construct the right, researching the right things based on the business outcomes that clients are looking for, that is the architecture of the research, which then informs the strategy. And the thing that our AI clients are asking us for is the strategy, because they said, hey, I can fill in the mushy pieces in the middle, but I need the outline, I need the architecture in what we should be doing, because that's not their core area of expertise. And so strategy, storytelling, writing, all of those things still demand the human touch. And I was just on a call with one of our healthcare clients, and I got to point out the copywriter in a big design project that we're working on right now. And I said, she is the most important person on this call right now, because her original content that is taking into consideration the research that we're doing, taking into consideration the strategy, and writing for schema now so that the LLMs can pick up everything for GEO, the generative engine optimization. Writing for schema is everything right now, and having original content is everything. So despite people saying, oh, writing is going to be dead, there's actually a rise in the number of English majors that's happening right now, which I think is counterintuitive based on what everybody's saying, but that's actually reality.
Yeah, the pendulum will shift, right? There's no question. It swings one way, swings the other. Even when I talk about Claude Code, it puts software developers at risk. I was able to write that on my own over a weekend instead of using our own developers, right? I mean, we're a software shop to build that. So that puts developers at risk. But the reality is the world will be making far more software than it has ever made before. And there will always be a need for software developers. The roles may change, but the gig ain't going away. So that brings me to a point about performance marketing. What job is most at risk in our industry because of AI? Come on.
I mean,
the low level
Programming.
So, all right, so give me answers. Dan.
Programming.
Brett.
I would say data entry.
Lindsay.
Yeah, data entry.
Yeah.
Low level.
Sophia, you're right here.
Agreed. Yeah.
Data entry.
Yeah.
Which job is most protected? What's going to be the last one to go?
Well, I mean, we tell our employees, we say, look, it's not AI that's going to come and take your job. It's someone who knows AI that's going to come and take your job.
How
So
long do
we
you think it's
encourage
gonna
them to learn it. We encourage them to learn it and to understand it and to deploy it in our environment. So I mean, what do I think? It's going to start to your point, Greg, there's going to start to be throwaway software where it's just built for a one use case because it can be. And so I feel like, from a data science and engineering perspective, I think it benefits them the most, even though they're the most fearful of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dan, you're a geek. You agree with that?
Yep, absolutely. But your content creators are pretty much protected.
They're pretty much what? Protected?
Protected, yeah. Because they got to put the personalization into it.
Okay. Sophia.
I think go ahead.
Lindsay, no, you go.
Yeah, I think it's the brokers. Like, imagine like somebody who's going and relying on a personal relationship to make a business transaction happen. So like the business development folks are in a good position because they're not going to be just replaced with bots. Like, yeah, you could do outreach, but people do business with people they trust. And so if you look at, taking a product and getting it into retail, to work with brokers that have those buyer relationships, or new business development that has a relationship, or just things that can't be replaced by AI today. They could be supplemented, but not replaced.
Okay. Sophia.
You stole my answer, Lindsay. It was yeah. It is. It's the business development. It's the account management. Like, you just can't put a price on building those relationships. When you have clients coming to you with millions of dollars in budget every year, they have to trust someone still, right? It's not just going to be the machine. So that is very much protected, in my opinion.
So I agree with that, but I've got a personal experience that kind of changed my philosophy a bit. At least it evolved it. With Claude Code, right? So writing that application over a weekend, that application involves a bunch of different geeky things, right? So whether, technologies and products and integrations, and I used the ones it recommended because it was fast and convenient, and I knew that Claude Code could work with it, which means I didn't Google it. I didn't do my own research. I didn't do any of that, and I certainly didn't talk to anybody. And these are products I paid for. Right? I was like, which one works? You know what I'm trying to build. You've built 90% of it, and now I need to add this feature I didn't think of at the original. What should I use for that? Oh, this, and this. Here are the benefits, pros, and cons. And I went and bought it. I signed up for it, like person. So I think there is people absolutely in sales. But I also think that if you are not known to these models, you're going to be dead in the water, right? It's one of those, it's just, and let's say e-commerce, agentic e-commerce and ChatGPT, everybody buying everything in ChatGPT. If ChatGPT does not know your product exists, you're done. If that goes that way, right? But I'm dealing with software libraries and things like that. Very different use case. So I do believe that sales are important, clearly. People in sales also important. I also think that in-person experiences are going to become bigger and bigger because of AI, because there's so much spam and crap out there that if you want to get a hold of somebody, you have to go meet them in person. You just won't trust anything else. You'll never meet them. So conferences, PDMI East, PDMI West, things like that. I think those become more important than ever.
I'll be a contrarian to that and say that I'm looking forward to agentic AI taking over CRM.
Yeah. It's funny. Have any of you dealt with an AI situation that made a campaign worse? I just thought of it. So,
I don't think we're there yet, and I hope that we aren't anytime soon on our end.
Yeah, I mean, not with human in the middle. No.
Okay.
I'm more concerned with copyright and trademark situations with clients. If they send us something, like I just got logos from a client and I said, did you use AI to create these? And they said yes. And I said, we are going to need to start over and recreate these because you can't build your whole brand on, like, you're a big company and you should not be using AI to do your company logos. So I think there are issues there, and I always get wishy-washy answers from AI speakers because I've had a lot of them in different groups that I'm part of. When I ask, okay, so you could use this from a creative standpoint and from a production standpoint, but what happens when you put ad dollars behind it? Who actually owns it? And they're like, you should just, check with legal, and so that's the typical response.
So let me ask a bigger question about that same topic. And everybody has to pick one thing about AI that keeps you up at night, related to your job, related to how you use AI or how you have used it in the past or something. Maybe it's you got burned on something and you learned. I'll actually start. I'll give you a horrifying one. So it was middle of 2025, and so I've been pushing the team. I said at the beginning, I'm pushing the team on AI, right? And I think it can. At the time, I certainly thought it could fix everything, until I had this moment. And we were doing a landing page for somebody, and we didn't quite have the assets that we needed, right? They just had really bad photos and whatever. And it was actually Nikki on our team. She's like, really bad assets, and I don't know what to put here. And I said, oh, over here we want a picture of the company. There's like 4 people at the company, and they had this little image on their website. And I was like, put it here. She's like, this image, the section's too big. It's gonna be all pixelated. I'm like, put it through ChatGPT. It'll fix the image. It'll make it better, and great. It'll be wonderful. And she didn't do it, so I did it. I was like, of course, I come in. I'm like, I'm gonna build out this landing page, show you how great AI is. So I put it in ChatGPT, and I'm like, listen, change the background color of this photo, take these 3 photos, put them together, and make it look the same. So we put it in this, and it did it all perfectly. It looked so good. And I put it in a landing page. I sent it off to the client. I'm like, here you go. They're like, oh my God, that looks amazing. Who are they? And I didn't realize that it had changed the face of every single one of them. I was like, oh, sorry. And that was Nikki's I told you so, right? So it's not quite ready for it. So that was my keeps me up at night, are dumb little things where maybe you trust it a little too much and you get lazy, frankly, and it ends up burning you. So everybody has to give me one story. Brett, I'm going to start with you. What keeps you up at night about AI?
Shadow AI, where we noticed when we first started with AI that nearly half of our employees were using personal accounts that operate outside of the company control. And look, if an employee pastes client code or internal data into an ungoverned open source tool, that data is no longer yours, and it may be even used to train a model. So that part of it, and ensuring that our employees are maintaining privacy by not utilizing open source is what keeps me up.
That's really good. What do you do about that?
Well, we pay for enterprise solutions. That's it. And then all employees have to sign in. We have logs so that there's governance behind it, so that we can understand what people are asking it, and it stays in a controlled environment.
Yeah, that's great. All right, Sophia, what keeps you up at night with AI?
Yeah, I'd agree with that in terms of governance and just making sure that we're doing the right things from that perspective. I think also it's just, are we doing enough? Are we getting ahead of, I know we will never get ahead of it, but it's just, it never feels like, to your point, Greg, with your example, it's like you do all of this work and then you're, 3 months later, everything's changed, right? And I feel like there's always this pressure to, be an expert at something that's ever changing, and none of us are experts at it, right? And it's still such a fresh conversation for so many of us, maybe not you, Lindsey, with what you've done over the past decade so much, but I think that's a big part of it, is just like, what is the next step? What does the next 6 months, 12 months look like? And how do we pivot as a company?
Yeah, it's like this perpetual feeling off balance and unsure. There's not like a new normal. You're like, okay, hey, there's this great new thing and we're going to use it, and then we're going to, focus our company around it. Nope, it's 3 months later, completely changed. Yeah. I agree. All right, Dan. What was the question? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, it's not so much that we see problems in predictive analytics. You can try different systems and different models, and they come out different. Yeah, you expect that. But when you say, write me a specific code, and you check across several of them, it's not really consistent. Or you do some research, and you're getting completely different results from the different systems that you use. And it's like, what, do you have to test 3 and take an average?
Yeah, yep. Okay. Lindsey, what keeps you up at night about AI?
Mine is about, I think, kind of the same annoyance that doctors have when you would ask Dr. Google what you should do about your cough or whatever, and then you go into the doctor's office and you're like, I have bronchitis, and they're like, no, I haven't even looked at your throat or listened to your lungs yet. And so I see the same thing, especially with AI clients that use AI. They come with the whole thing and they're like, I need all of these things, and I'll say, no, you need a quarter of those things, and here's why. And I just had something happen where, said, we don't have our social media set up yet, but these are all the 10 platforms we want to be on, including Threads. And I'm like, no, we're not going to spend time on Threads. We're not going to spend time here. You're not going on Mastodon. I think AI tries to boil the ocean a lot of times and be so all-encompassing that clients can lose focus of what actually matters and what's actually going to move the needle.
I mean, that goes perfectly with what you were saying earlier, that the strategy is a human, right? Otherwise, you're a lot of nothing in particular. And it's funny. I mean, that is kind of what LLM, right? So the chatting and content creation side of AI is really like. If you just say, write me a story, you're going to get a bland vanilla story. If you're saying, you are Edgar Allan Poe, write me a story, it's a very different story. You have to give it direction in order to get something that is unique and different, not just for the sake of being unique and different, but for what you're trying to do. Give me a story I can read to 5th graders. That's a very different story, right? And that takes some knowledge, right? Just to know that you have to think that way to kind of guide this big blob of AI. So I think that your two statements there, Lindsey, make perfect sense.
There's one more caveat. The other caveat is having to double check that the quotes that clients are sending me are not generated with any AI, because it becomes a copyright issue where they could actually get blacklisted by press because it's not their original content. Therefore, the media outlet would be regurgitating AI content, and publications have their copyright.
It's really funny because you bring up a good point that I never even really considered, which was, I'm thinking AI, we use AI on behalf of our clients, and that's it. I never thought about the AI slop that clients would be giving us for their deliverables. That's a serious risk.
Yeah.
Didn't exist
Yeah.
years ago.
I have to police it, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's really
I
interesting.
just got quotes for Wall Street Journal, and I had to go back and text on Sunday evening. I just want to confirm these are your original thoughts, and you use no ChatGPT. And they're like, yes, they're my original thoughts. I'm like, okay, just checking.
Yeah, right?
I don't want you to get blacklisted from Wall Street Journal.
That's really funny. Okay, last question. What do you think this looks like 6 months from now, 18 months from now? Like what is going to be different? Like actually different 12 to 18 months ago. If you had asked me 12, 18 months ago, having AI actually make a really good piece of software was not going to happen. It was just garbage then. And maybe there's even a separate question. It created more work than it solved. You were spending so much time simply trying to fix it and guide it that you could have just written it yourself and done it better. And those days are long gone. Honestly, they're completely gone. So what's it look like for 12 months just on my side? I believe software is going to go through a fundamental change. In companies are going to be building these one-off applications that they never would have considered having before, simply because it is faster, easier for them to get exactly what they want that day and not have to pay, big platform fee than, dealing with the complexity of some of these big platforms. So I think software is going to have a significant resurgence and allow companies like us to have solutions that we never had before, never had available, because it just would have been cost prohibitive to buy them. The cost effectively goes to zero. I think that's big. So question, anybody can chime in with their answer. What is different in the next 12 months, 18 months, or even by PDMI East, right? What's different?
I think more distrust. I think the level of distrust is going to just grow exponentially, and people are going to have to decipher what's real. We already don't know, is this a real person calling me, or is this some bot that sounds like a human with the okay, pause,
approval.
Yeah, it's all of those calls, it's the emails that you get, it's the messages, and with all this fine tuning, it's going to sound more and more real. So I think, to your earlier point, the in-person connections, the focus on trust in media, trust in content, like who's actually behind this, is going to be critical, which I think also places a higher priority on, figuring out what media do you trust and what, what's the verification. It's almost like you have to have a code word with somebody to know that they're real.
Well, what's funny is it brings up, it's too bad Randal was having technical problems, because it brings up.
Actually,
you're here.
Honestly, Greg, I'm actually on. Yeah, sorry.
Oh man, there's a whole legal side of that. I mean, at the end of the day, right, the FTC is about being able to trust the things that are happening. There's this built into the fabric of capitalism that you have to trust this. So you know what? Hold on, Randal's here. Randal, like the legal side of this, right? So what's the number one thing that that you could chime in on, to give you a few minutes, because I'm sorry, I didn't know you were here.
No worries.
What would you like to say?
I've been enjoying listening and fascinated by everybody talking about how they use AI in their business. I would hate to interject legal into this, but real quick, just a couple quick things. More and more there's some disclosure requirements around using AI, not in the back room so much, but in advertising. Especially New York has a law about using kind of avatars or synthetic persons with AI and disclosing. There have been a number of FTC cases, self-regulatory cases around kind of overstating how much you're using AI for a particular application, right? Everybody wants to say, oh, we're using AI for this and for that, but make sure like you're really using it, right? It's not just kind of window dressing.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we've seen clients do is trying to play around with AI to use it for customer service or to try to generate sales. And it's tricky. And if you're, like, let's say it's a subscription, right? And there's all sorts of disclosure requirements around signing somebody up for a subscription. How do you teach AI to make the disclosures it's supposed to make? As people were saying earlier, can you really take the human out of it altogether? because it's pretty tricky to train AI to make the right legal disclaimer in the right place at the right time. So those are just a few things I think I'd point out quickly.
That's fantastic. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna go Dan, then Sophia, then Brett. The question was, what's different in the next 6, 12, 18 months? Dan.
Well, I think that 85% of the way there was going to go up to about 90%. And I think the rise of agentic AI, the cost benefits are just too tremendous out there to ignore, you know, the benefits of agentic AI. So I think we're going to see a lot. There's got to be a lot more improvement in it from what I've seen, but I think we can get there.
Got it. Sophia, you're up.
I think from the agency perspective, as well as like from the client side, I think you're going to start to see more companies starting to make more of a definitive choice on their AI strategy. I think right now there's like everybody's just kind of caught in the middle, and it's where are we going to put our resources towards? Is it going to be into investing in building AI ourselves with, you know, CTOs, specialists, all the infrastructure? Or are we investing, you know, in our current resources, our people, in being able to work with the AI and training them and making sure that they actually have all of everything they need in order to use those tools that already exist? So a lot of conversation I've had is always like, well, where do you put that investment? And I think in the next year you're going to start to see more buckling down of that strategy.
Yeah, so more of a intentional decisions as opposed to reactive. You know, it's
exactly.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Great. Brett, final word.
What's that? You said one word?
Nope, you have the final word here. Go as long as you want.
Well, I mean, look, from a media measurement standpoint, I think, you know, what I would like to see is more brands and clients starting to go into a workflow where no new channel is launched without planned simulations, where, you know, a brand's team will have a library of scenario outcomes that'll serve as a benchmark in allowing them to identify in flight when campaigns are underperforming.
Yeah, and that would be cost prohibitive with people, right? I mean, you couldn't possibly have enough people to be able to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's brilliant. All right, anything else before we hand it back to Tom and say, give us some user questions, viewer questions? Any parting thoughts? Tom, back to you, sir.
All right, let me jump back in. We have like 3 or 4 good ones from the audience. Well done, everybody. Great conversation. Thanks for guiding it, Greg. Well done. First one that came through. Instead of having AI infiltrate your company from all directions, does anyone consider hiring a chief AI officer to help guide the company's overall strategy and implementation?
Our chief technology officer has that duty.
So on our side, I'll tell you, I have brought in an AI LLM prompt consultant, honestly, to take work off of me. So I did that. I just can't imagine that there's somebody with so much experience in AI that they could immediately transfer that to some new company as a consultant without them just putting everything in ChatGPT and saying, how would I do this? And that's it. I don't know. I don't have trust in that particular role yet. Right.
Yeah, I think if anybody's starting out in AI, just do it one department at a time.
Yeah.
Get used to it and let it spread from there.
Yeah, that feels right. And certain people too. I think some people are just going to be curious and driven and try to push the limits and see what it can and can't do. And I think it's a personality type. They probably, the same people that would have done the same thing with the internet, they would have done the same thing with the iPhone when it first came out. We need to get an app and, you know, stuff like that. It's not everybody is so adaptive.
The issue is that the AI technologists, the ones actually developing these programs, don't know all the use cases per industry, because you could take it to healthcare, you could take it to take it to the agency world and marketing. They don't know all the reports that an agency would need to pull for all the different services that an agency does for whatever sort of product categories or type of media buying or whatever. So they need the expert from the organization to even conceptualize how it would be utilized And that's what the light bulb moments are happening right now with these AI technologists, that they need the bridge. And so that's why these strategic partnerships, like the one that we establish, are so critical.
The advice I can give everybody: pretend you are in the room with the smartest people that have ever lived in that your particular domain, what you're doing, and ask it questions. What can be done? Don't just say, it's not like build it for me or do it for me, but if you're having problems kind of thinking it through, just imagine the 5 smartest people you've ever met, and you're sitting in a room with them. That would be a brainstorming session. You'd be batting off ideas and thinking back and forth. Just do the same thing. Do the same thing in Claude, do the same thing in OpenAI. At least it'll kind of get you thinking of what the opportunities may be for you with AI.
Makes sense. Next one, kind of a vibe check. We've heard a lot, I think a lot about certain aspects of this dealing with clients, but when it comes to client demand, do you feel like your business is ahead of the game with your AI efforts, or that you're playing catch up? This comes to client demand.
I would honestly say like it's somewhere in the middle. Like I think it's just moving so fast that nobody is truly far behind and nobody's truly that far ahead, to be honest with you.
I also think there's a damned if you do and a damned if you don't. If you went out there and said, we are AI everything, you'd lose half your customers. And if you said, we don't use AI for anything, you'd lose the other half. Like, I don't know. Some people love it, some people hate it.
It also depends on the client too, and their level of sophistication with AI and how they value it. It's almost like, what's somebody's relationship with money? Somebody thinks money is evil, and somebody thinks money is the all end all be all. And so it's kind of the same visceral reaction to AI that people have individually for whatever their reasons are.
Yeah, we've been doing AI since 2014. And we don't bring up AI unless the client wants to talk about it.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, we don't bring it up. I mean, from an analytics standpoint, it's definitely helped advance us faster. But I would say, you know, utilizing it in other facets of our business, maybe some of the menial tasks that happen, I don't think we've gotten there yet. I think we've put in so much resources into measurement and how we can use AI to help us be more efficient that we haven't looked at it from the standpoint of how can we remove some of these small things that we're doing.
That's great. That's great. All right. Next one. AI is making work at the shop faster, but is it making outcomes for clients better? Or if you look back 5 years ago when your company was most likely not using AI, is your company actually delivering better results for your clients now?
I think it's a matter of your staff not becoming robotic. If your humans stay humans and still have critical thinking and still are looking at what those objectives are for the client and being client-centric, I think that is the deciding factor. I think the more people get sucked into becoming robotic and just not going back to being critical thinkers, I think that would devolve an organization very quickly.
Tom, I often think about people that, you know, they talk about AI, the AI investors, and that they build their newsletter and they talk about it publicly. My newsletter is from 50 different sources and I have AI models that write it. And I've always wondered, do you make more money now than you did 3 years ago because of these efforts, right? Are you actually growing your customer base? Are you able to, you know, make more work capitalistic, right? At the end of the day, is your business a better business? And reducing costs solely is not it, right? You can reduce your cost to zero, but if you got no customers, it's not going to help you anymore. I know for us, it's to be determined, but I'll tell you what it definitely does is that it allows us to do things that we never would have done before. It's just, it would have been cost prohibitive. It would have been a great idea. Maybe someday we'll be able to do that. And for a lot of those things, we're just literally able to do it now. Hopefully it results in being a better business and having happier clients and more revenue. I think it's really early in that cycle, but it's fun, right? To be able to have that kind of execution that just didn't exist a few months ago.
Yeah. Yep. Anyone else before we wrap up?
From a measurement standpoint, It allows us to produce results faster, which allows clients to pivot dollars faster and allows them to take advantage of anything that might be happening in the market faster. So yes, there's real world applications to us making more or our clients better because of it.
Yeah, intelligent handshake wouldn't exist without AI. So
there you go. Well, great conversation, really well-rounded, lots of great thoughts, and not a sales pitch for AI by any stretch, which was great. I think it's I think there's much to be determined, and it's about each use case and understanding how it works. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to go in the order I see on my screen. Lindsey, Greg, Dan, Sophia, Brett, and Randy. Thank you for fighting the good fight on the phone and hanging in there.
No worries.
Yeah, thank you. We are out of time here. We'd like to thank the speakers and our Digital and Data Council for bringing us the event. If you're a PDMI member who would like to get involved, you can reach out to me directly to share your interest in any of our 6 member councils today. Your next chance to attend a live online PDMI event is Wednesday, March 18th, when our Take 20 series will host the latest in its hot category series, this time focusing on personal injury law. Please visit thepdmi.com/take-20 to register for the webinar and check out the upcoming schedule. And online registration for PDMI East in Miami Beach is rolling. Badges are priced just $4.95 for PDMI members, $6.95 for non-members. That's a $100 discount from on-site registration. Speaking of discounts, badge holders getting access to right now about a $250 per night discount on guest rooms at the PDMI in the PDMI's block at the Host Hotel, Eden Rock, Miami Beach. Though that offer is slated to end tomorrow, so don't hesitate. Make your plan to join us today at thepdmi.com/PDMI-East. Thanks again, everyone. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.